Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2. Let me introduce to you the blue Protoss player in the bottom left of Ancient Cistern. It is GuMiho, the Wall. Known for his defense up against repeated and unprovoked aggression, I give you the aggressor, the last mech Terran in the red, GuMiho. Known for his creativity, his tactics, his planning. Even against Protoss, breaking out some of the most underused units in this best of three. We'll have to see. As things already kicking off. Double Reaper up against a Stargate opener. Probe across the map. Other probes trying to escape the early Reapers of GuMiho. Jimmy! Ah, yes. A bit of a chrono boost there. But it's going to be Cloak Banshees to start things off. A resurgence or a surge, I guess, in Cloak Banshees against Protoss. I'm not sure if at any point it's really become a popular build or was a popular build, but been seeing it more and more lately. Big Gabe, Beyond, and now GuMiho. So if you like creative builds and strategies, if you like seeing something a little different than your basic bio, well, maybe consider liking this video, subscribing if you haven't made it there yet. As I introduced to you, I believe we just passed 600 casting. Maybe not just. I don't know. They all kind of blend together, but in the best possible way. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Hopefully I made your day a little bit better. Unlike these oracles to the SCVs so far. Losing a Cyclone, but the oracle kind of wanders in. So Showtime giving up a bit in order to get that information, but he saw the Cloak Banshees. He saw... Wait, he did... Oh my god, he didn't see the tech lab. There is an observer on the way. Thing is... Well, I think he expects it. He may have even just seen the Banshee, because right now he's very much building the direct defense. He's bringing the Oracle back. He's already got a... Showtime didn't quite see it there, obviously, because it's cloaked. Thank you, I know. But the shield battery, well, it just kind of flies right through. Showtime didn't notice the shimmer there. It's not... So this is quite an expensive observer that GuMiho's using, but he joins up with the army, and adepts don't shoot up. So he can see the Banshee, but the adepts in the awkward position of not being able... Okay, well, the Phoenix can. Uses that little bit of extra vision from surveillance mode. I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea. GuMiho, using the Banshee like an expensive Terran observer. Not convinced that was the best usage of the Banshee there. He just ends up losing it to a Phoenix. Showtime gonna comfortably take his third base. And add on a Robotics Bay, a Twilight Council. Meanwhile, GuMiho, no third command center. Oh my god. Ah, yes. Well, you can forgive me for missing it, because it was directly in front of my face. I literally looked... Okay, I looked at it. I looked at the production tab. I'm like, huh, there is a third command center. Look back down. Wow, when did that get there? Hidden in plain sight. It is kind of odd to build the third command center in the wall against Protoss, but... Well, he does have it. I want to revise, in case it wasn't clear, revise my previous statement. And relatively early on. It's going to be about the same time as Showtime finishes his third Nexus. Though, of course, Showtime has built his on location. How many times are we going to do that? Jimmy, oh my. A lot of time warping happening today. Could you calm down, please? Couple more barracks finishing up. Barracks 4 and 5. It looks like a conventional bio build here out of GuMiho. though very heavy on the siege tanks early on, adding on the Widow Mines now, alongside the Raven. So, covering all his bases, quite literally. Meanwhile, Showtime, sitting back, Colossus, extended thermal lance, charge on the way. A bit later, the Forge, which is going to be well over a minute, maybe 2, behind that of GuMiho, with his 1-1 bio upgrades. So now the question is, do we develop the Twilight Council tech into Templar, probably High Templar for Archons, or Double Roboraptor? That is the 2 most common progressions of the tech tree. A second Forge is on the way. The Banshees, okay, this is awkward. Well, the Banshee's going, you know, I'm sorry, I don't know about GuMiho. How do you say, okay, so that was not good. Losing 3 Banshees so far for like a sentry kill is not the ideal usage of Banshees, believe it or not. So, not really finding success. He's got a Reaper on the way now. I'm not sure if that's a misclick or a fancy scouting option. Maybe GuMiho's just testing out new observer options that aren't scan, and then realizes scan actually quite good. Catches most of the army there. The sensor tower will give him some warning as well. Showtime slaps down a revelation. You don't get nicknamed the Wall if you have a penchant for reckless aggression. Wall's not usually known for deciding to uproot themselves and attack. Not usually. So Showtime just kind of hanging out, looking for weakness, but in finding nothing he can really attack easily, instead expands. So if he can't attack, expand. If he can't expand, well, hopefully you can attack. And in this case, well, we're at the point where both players are probably going to try a bit of both. As a 4th command center is on the way alongside that 4th Nexus, though Showtime will take a bit of a lead in that regard. Scan, spots, okay. Okay, alright, okay, everyone. The bio army over here. Concussive shell not done, he just leaves. Ah, he smells a trap. GuMiho realizing that sending out like 20 supply of bio to chase 4 adepts could end poorly. Why is there... what is happening? What is this? The charge lot's not able to get that kill. The Phoenixes steal it away from them. Well, the build-up continues. Still, very limited losses on either side. The tension, some Spylons on the way as well. Well, actually, no. No spotter pylons. But instead, a whole lot of stasis. A Marine just slips through here, but concussive shell's done. The double Ds of destruction on the screen right now. You've got the Dark Templar with Blink and the double Roboraptor, which is just so fun to say. All the pieces coming together of that late game Protoss ground army, whereas GuMiho has his comfortable Terran army as well. On Ancient Cistern, the rush distances are so long, you really want to be sure you have the right army to move out. Especially both these players are more methodical. I don't think of them as the intense micro players, but instead just try... One, I'm not sure. The Cyclone, I don't know if it was not on lock-on, or... Is there a medevac, or did he just run in here? I'm so confused. Just generally, but also specifically here. Such weird attacks so far. Scouting Colossi. The mini-map is becoming even more confusing. But they're maxed out with 4 bases. Or it's the tension is palpable. And at some point it has to break. As neither player is really focusing on any sort of further tech. For GuMiho, that might be battle cruisers. And for Showtime, that would probably be Sky Toss. No, they're maxed out. Now is the time to test the waters and see if you have any opportunity to break through. But that's a lot of siege tanks. 2-2 just finished. This is a bit of an anti-timing for Showtime here. If he attacks into this right now, he's attacking GuMiho at his strongest point, both tactically and upgrade-wise. But he's still going to give it a shot. Picks up one siege tank. There's not that much bio here. The army's scattered. No, the interference matrix interrupted one of the Ruptors, but anti-armor missile added on. And GuMiho tearing through what he can before the recall comes off. Overall, knots and a great fight. I don't know, we've seen a lot of Protoss lately trying it. GuMiho seems to have that effect, where he baits his opponent into attacking, thinking he's kind of weak, and the fight starts off kind of good for Showtime, but quickly turns into a rout, forcing the recall out. The Raven just has so much utility in a fight like that. One SCV contracted to repair the orbital, of which GuMiho now has so many. Oh my god! 14 Dark Templar warped in. He has 50! Oh my god! Oh, it's a massacre! He can't see them, but they can kill you. The EMP hits all the DTs though, and a handful of units will gather vengeance while their fellows look on from within the stasis. And this game has gotten a lot more dramatic here. The failed attack followed up by a replacement. Oh, and I didn't even think. I could have just stopped it at that as the end of the sentence. But here comes a nuclear missile just to make things more interesting. Disruptors blasting through. Even more command centers finished. How many? He's now got 5 orbitals. We're reaching double-digit command centers. Showtime added more bases around the sides. Holding the high ground. GuMiho does have a lot to fall back on, but the disruptors force a retreat. The nuke, I assume, is going to be used for attacking one of those bases. Spots the Dark Templar shimmer. They're forced to blink away. The roaming DT squads, like it's a campaign mission of sorts. Roving Marauder squads, like that co-op mission that is surprisingly difficult, actually. Zealots spotted and taken out, but spots the army in turn. Meanwhile, another bioforce moving in. Showtime repeatedly pounding on this third base location, and he finds it lightly defended. The orbital has to lift. Another one may very well be taken out. Disruptor shots curve around the orbital and slam into the tank. Whereas on the other side, GuMiho pressing the issue, loses about a third of his bio units to stasis, but more reinforcements mean that Showtime gonna need more. Nuclear missile, defensive nuke launched. If Showtime waltzes into it, there's a lot going on right now, but a recall instead. So GuMiho may end up... No, cancel it. GuMiho. GuMiho! What are you doing? Well, this false flag operation will inspire GuMiho. Alright, well, take away the keys to the nuclear silo, please. As GuMiho is much more likely to hurt himself. And Showtime was nowhere nearby to witness that, so... GuMiho knows what he did. And it's not... well, actually, the nuke killed 13 SCVs. And GuMiho didn't have a ton of them in the first place. So his army supply is massive right now. Are you kidding me, though? Are you kidding me right now? Come on. This is professional StarCraft 2. I've seen disruptors. Disruptors are more understandable, as they are... Well, that was very, very bad. A bit of foreshadowing there, as every disruptor dies without firing a shot. Showtime wanders them in, and that by far more than makes up. That mistake, I'd say, is many times over larger than GuMiho's self-nuke, if more reasonable. Alright, those disruptors have a tendency to wander off on their own sometimes. If disruptors had an auto attack, but of course Terran players would never stand for that. Like the Templar water balloons. But that was a huge mistake out of Showtime. all of this aggression here, this position that GuMiho now has, is built not off the back of the supply that he knew. Oh my god, just one disruptor, still devastating though. As the charge lots piling in, EMP lands, but they still have plenty of upgrades. It's hard to tell exactly what's going on down there. Is there enough to deal? Where did that Oracle come from? Well, there it goes. The Bio Army, another Ruptor shot. This game is madness. Oh god, the amount of mistakes is about equal on both sides. Clearly, just a brawl as they're scrapping it out. I still can't. GuMiho. Gumi, no. That is a classic GuMiho move. His tactics are top-notch, but his execution is sometimes lackluster. Showtime, on the other hand, not usually prone to such moves as... A lot of players will just select their disruptors with the rest of the army, which does create the issue of potentially dragging your own disruptor shots into the army, but usually leaves them less exposed. If you put them on their own hotkey, which I believe Showtime has done, they do have a tendency to wander off if you lose track of them. And this game is chaos right now. I'm surprised Dark isn't somehow involved. The Zerg Cabal is just Dark in the few moments a week that he sleeps, orchestrating the rest of the meta. The commentary, the gameplay, everything is somewhat confusing right now. And it's still unclear where and how and when this will end, as both sides have plenty of army supply. DT's slicing through an orbital, almost killing it. EMP could potentially wipe out the DTs before they can do much more. Just blanks in. He can see him, but can he kill him? The DTs and the Blink Stalkers all forced to retreat. How many disruptors on the... He's building 3 Colossi at a time, which is pretty crazy as well. 3 Robos, 18 gateways. How many... Blink DTs on the top of everything. Disruptors clip the edge of the army as it retreats. Oh, he leans in. But the disruptors in the... Oh no, he's gonna... Well, he actually killed the disruptor that would have killed a bunch of the DTs. I'm not sure who's doing more damage to whom. Which I'm at least half wrong grammatically. Or am I? Or am he? Just to make everyone angry. Blink Stalkers over to the side. Disruptor shots! Threatening everyone. And well, a lot of the units are... You can't recall Terran units. He comes back in, but well, only 1 Stalker survived this. More disruptors are killed. 15 disruptors have been killed. 3 Colossi show up. GuMiho's dipping in supply here as his income has suffered dramatically. But what a mess. And the same place that so much of this game has been centered around, the third, is once again under fire from those extended thermal lances. God. GuMiho with a larger army supply, but still struggling economically. 3 Colossi on the back line. No Vikings to match them. DTs in the midst of everything. Upgrades quite high on every side. The Bio Army... Well, the Colossi doing a very good job, but they're the only thing left over here. Burning through. 2 Marauders more than enough to deal with the rest. There's a DT blink attack over to the right flank, and GuMiho's supply. Oh my god, it's over. And then, almost as suddenly as it started, it ends. What a roller coaster. GuMiho. I'll give GuMiho this. he is definitely one of the most entertaining players out there by a large margin. And it's not somehow, unlike Cure, like Cure has a consistent level of like his micro is consistently less than stellar. And of course I throw him under the bus for it. It's entertaining every time. But GuMiho is almost like a random micro generator. Sometimes he has incredible plays, but sometimes he literally nukes his own face. So, which GuMiho are we gonna get in Game 2? Let's find out. Ugh. Game 2, NeoHumanity. Showtime with a comfortable... Not comfortable, what am I saying? I'm just falling back. I'm trying to get back to the generic filler commentary that casters all have that, okay? They're lying to you if they say otherwise. The comfortable victory in Game 1, but Showtime gonna try to build off it in Game 2. No, it wasn't comfortable. It was a mess. I'm sure... I feel like Showtime wasn't sure if he was winning right up until GuMiho tapped out. Especially since when GuMiho knocked out 13 of his own SCVs with a nuclear missile. That actually turned the tide economically. If he had those 13 SCVs, he could have maintained a significantly higher level of production. And of course, I'm sure that didn't help mentally, as at the very last second, it was too late to cancel the nuke. He pulled the SCVs away, which means he was watching it. He saw it happen. And he knows that everyone watching, and now you, dear viewer, saw it happen. Okay. They all bore witness to GuMiho's blunder there. The only person, amusingly enough, who didn't see it was Showtime. Stargate, once again. The Cybercore actually, it blocks the entire thing here. All the way from the Men's Club advertisement to the Manx propaganda poster. But the only Reaper jump location is between these two little doodads here, making the Cybercore look very weird. Double racks, so 3 racks, and expanded on the high ground in GuMiho. Not dealing with any of that early pressure. Reaper and 2 Marines, an interesting exchange. I think it begs the question, should disruptors... I've kind of come around to it, that disruptors should have water balloons. Like the Templar, I think almost, or at least, have the ability to stay at something of a distance from units. So that way, honestly, I don't think it adds to the entertainment of games to watch Protoss juggle spellcasters, where some of them will just wander into the enemy. You know what? I'm on board. Infestors and Ravens as well. Okay. In my proposed balance patch, if some of you dramatically remember, and many of you argued with in some fashion or another, but that's healthy. I think every unit, and I've come around to the disruptors as well, having just some basic... The skyscraper got in the way. He actually hit it. I think he would have gotten away if it wasn't for that meddling skyscraper over here. NeoHumanity has so many cool little details that Oracle absolutely hates right now. Anyways. But it is a little odd to me that High Templar are the only unit that has the ability, or the only spellcaster that has the ability to avoid wandering into fights. Because of that very, very low damage auto attack designed for that explicit purpose. I do hope any RTS of the future do consider the juggling of spellcasters as maybe not I don't think it's particularly great for spectating, or for playing. I hate watching people try to wrangle their disruptors, fail, and lose the most important unit in their army before the fight happens. But for some reason, Winter, you love watching people nuke themselves. Okay, one, that's different, and two, it's hilarious. Well, GuMiho shows up with a tank, a cyclone, and a dozen or so marines, even before stim and combat shield. Reaper gets into the main, gonna distract any amount. What does Showtime have? Huh. Is he dead? He's retreating literally to the corner of his base. Charge is done in 3 seconds, which is about 20 seconds too many. No, a stim and combat shield are more than enough DP. Yeah, okay, well, he's dead. Well, GuMiho just comes over. That is what, the technical term for that is a bop. Alright, he bopped him. He just walked up and killed him. Showtime clearly not prepared for the strength of that early push. Losing the Oracle certainly didn't help, but GuMiho picked his timing. I was too busy whining about my low APM hands to really look at all the details, but clearly Showtime struggling for that information as well. So that brings us quite quickly to Game 3. Unfortunate, but GuMiho with some clean, and that's the GuMiho I expect. Clean execution of a relatively simple build, but he picked it well, executed it solidly, and that brings us to a tie game, or tie series, rather. And Game 3. Dragon Scales. Double gas for Gumi. Going to be going for that heavier tech opener. Bit more reminiscent of TVT nowadays. Reaper Hellion. A bit brittle in that if you lose the initial Reaper, either of them, too early, they can kind of just come across the map and have a way better economy. But if you're able to keep the Reaper and usually Hellion alive, it can fight back against those early gateway units. Also, this gives you access to a quicker factory, which is usually used for the Cyclone to have a stable defense against both gateway units and Stargate. So all flavors of gateways. Alright, well that probe, does he recall it? Showtime seems like the kind of guy to recall his probe, but it's too late. You have to do it pretty much as the first Reaper hit comes in, otherwise the recall won't go off in time. Very sad. Stargate on the way. I think it's time. It's time to talk about imposter syndrome. So I feel like this series, I've been all over the place commentating. I got so thrown off by that early game in Game 1, I got caster tilted. And I could go back and like cast it again and do it better, but I really do try not to spoil myself. This is going to be fourth wall breaking a bit, but I do my best not to know who wins overall. How long the games are, but I also have to find the games to cast, so that's a careful balance. So hopefully you think the average commentary, and this is fishing as well, I acknowledge that, the average commentary, the average series. You know when you tune in, it's gonna at least be entertaining. And I really do try to keep that up. And what I've started doing is, if you notice, I used to cast a lot of the games on stream. Which means you get one opportunity to do it live. And that means sometimes when I was casting, I wasn't 100%. Maybe 80, 90%. I'm not, you can never be 100%, and that's the key. But I've been picking times when I really feel like casting, which is a lot of the time, but sometimes my voice, or just in general, I get a little tired. I know. And it's hard to keep up the energy, if you would. I don't even notice it until later. It's like, oh, you just sat there and didn't talk for 30 seconds when your entire job is commentating. But I do my best to keep that up. And I look to continue to do that with the best RTS games. I've also been playing, a lot of you know on the second channel, I've been putting out a lot of content for Beyond All Reason, the Total Annihilation spiritual successor. I've been really enjoying it, but it's not the same as StarCraft. There is no comparison. I hope there's another game soon that is the spiritual successor of StarCraft. Okay, it's Stormgate, but we still are hurting for that info. So, looking forward to it. And we'll see. Well, all right, so he loses both the oracles. One oracle, sorry, and the adepts here. I was gonna do a perfect segue. I'm always disappointed in myself when I don't nail it there. Just like Showtime should be disappointed in himself for losing all of those units without really doing too much damage. There you go. That one was better. So, Oracle and 4 Adepts. He got 2 Cyclones, but I'd say in this scenario, where both players are on 2 base, and GuMiho is actually taking his 3rd command center, the one thing GuMiho doesn't have are those additional barracks. So he doesn't have the ability to follow this up immediately. Adding him on now. And that means Showtime will have some space in order to get his 3rd base up and tech up. What GuMiho has gone for are those Cloaked Banshees. Game 1 saw some of the, I'll be honest, some of the worst Cloaked Banshee micro and decision making I have seen from a top tier player. They just simply did nothing. I guess they scouted, but literally anything else could have gotten the same amount of information for much less cost. But this time, it is a much later Cloak Banshee, which can actually work in your favor, because no one's expecting Cloak Banshees at the 7-minute mark. And he's going bio behind it. He's not going mech. It would make a little more sense as a sort of mech build, but... well, here we are. Showtime slaps a revelation. He sees pretty much what he's already seen before. He's going to see the 3rd command center in a moment. Not that surprising either, but the Cloak Banshee and the delayed cloak actually going to work out really well here. Because on paper, this was such a dumb move. Going Cloak Banshee after getting attacked by Stargate? Come on. It's directly countered by Stargate, but he gets the recall and he kills 8 probes. And he's going to get some more over here. The shield battery that was in position to defend against a ground push going to help out. But the delayed cloak pans out here. Oh my god, he missed it. He didn't see it coming back around for another pass. And GuMiho will run out of energy, but he'll get a couple more kills. And buy himself the space to follow this up. Oh, shield battery doesn't come through in time. Kills another one. 4 more kills. And he bought a lot of time. And very importantly, got the recall as well. So knowing that Showtime scrambled to defend. That production tab, the Terran production tab, when it starts taking up an annoying amount of the screen, that's when you know. Macro is being done. It's booming time. Showtime How many gates? 6 gates. He's actually added on a whole bunch. No forge yet. I lied. 2 forges added at that moment. And that means we're going to have a quite a split. GuMiho more focused on the... He's already got his infrastructure up. He's already got 1-1 upgrades. So he will be building up a large army supply and looking to move out momentarily. Whereas Showtime has the right army, but he wants to fill in the upgrades and add on all those gateway units. I think there is an opportunity here. Ooh, just slides past, gets the Oracle. Okay, well, 1 point on that. Yeah, delays the inevitable by landing, kind of accepting defeat there, though forces out some lifts. Awkward exchange. So Showtime is really banking on GuMiho sitting back. Because right now, GuMiho actually has the army, I think, to put together a very strong attack. But he's not really a attack before 200 supply kind of player. As we saw in Game 1, he kind of just sat back, waiting for Showtime's aggression. And eventually Showtime maxed out and attacked, but he is kind of squandering the opportunity to use this bio army aggressively, at least for now. Disruptor's on the way out. Ghost Academy. Be careful with that thing. Dark Shrine on the way. GuMiho sending out units to both flanks. He's got the left and right side lined up. Couple Whittle Mines. Trying some multi-pronged bio aggression. And this is what... So, this is Showtime's opportunity to live up to his name. This is what Showtime is just so good at. Is defending this multi-pronged aggression. So, only 1 Colossus here, but an Immortal. He's partitioned his army in such a way that GuMiho... He also backed off on the left flank. So, Showtime just stiff arms GuMiho out of the fight. Observer in place to see all this. And that feels like GuMiho acknowledging how you're supposed to play bio. But, so he did his token attack there. And then retreating on the first sign of resistance. That was not much of a commitment at all. Beyond would have dropped the main with 8 medevacs by now. And then he would have been rebuffed. Left the main, dropped out, and then gone right back in, because that's how Beyond do. Whereas GuMiho saw a couple Colossi, it seems like a bit much, right? Really focusing more on building the right army and 200 supply. And 2-2 is about to finish, which is another big power spike. Showtime zoning out on the left. And what's the gateway count? 8 gates here. DT blank. Wouldn't be surprised to see another gateway explosion. Looks like he's going to add the pylons for it. 3 more gateways being queued up, as well as continued disruptor production. Showtime wants to be able to refill as much supply as possible during these fights. Disruptors curving around, not finding too much here. Suspecting an observer correctly, but Showtime gets it away. Slaps an EMP onto it, but that gives a little time for the disruptors to move up. 3-3 on the way for GuMiho. 2-2 for Showtime, who now has so many more gates on the way. It's gonna be up to like 14, 15. I gotta get those rocks out of there. And now we're maxed. Showtime made no real effort at aggression. GuMiho only lightly acknowledged the idea. But at some point we have to fight. Both these more defensive players, unwilling to risk it before 200 supply. But here we are. 8 more gates on the way. Showtime taking the initiative, realizing that GuMiho is giving up a lot of the map, and now that Showtime has 2-2 upgrades, this is his best opportunity to match the army pretty much head on. GuMiho is nowhere in sight to defend his base, but Showtime already has plenty of units at home, but not on the right flank. Observer, ooh, that recall's a bit questionable. It's in a dangerous spot here, loses the Nexus, but fires a volley. Kills about as much Protoss as he does Terran. Ooh, those disruptors were a bit, he panicked. He just fired the entire volley here, and you never want to shoot all your Ruptors off at once. Premature purification novas are a real problem in the Protoss. Fires another volley, this one scattering the shots here, but GuMiho able to easily spread out outside those bridges. Showtime caught a little off guard, and it cost him. Loses the Nexus. He's now lost several Ruptors. GuMiho's still losing a lot of supply. Both armies are very dangerous to one another, and neither player fully confident in engaging. Showtime gonna take the center base, +3, finishing up for GuMiho. Infantry, weapons, and armor. 3-3 just started for Showtime here. Falling back. Another base going to be targeted. Enough disruptors to be incredibly dangerous. GuMiho with 12 medevacs and no other starport units. Both players with money in the bank as well. Another counterattack. Disruptor shots sprayed out. Down goes the planetary. Another set. There's still more disruptors on the back line. The medevac count is so damn high that they just can't kill the Marauders with this many medevacs. The disruptors are required. There is no recall for at least 20-30 more seconds, but the DTs slicing through. GuMiho really struggling. He's struggling to compete with the Protoss army on both fronts. The DTs slice through. Blink Stalkers helping to defend. GuMiho forced to evacuate yet another base. Fires out a couple Ruptor shots, chasing down SCVs. And GuMiho, with money in the bank, is struggling. He's just not competing with Showtime here on the field. He's not building anything out of his starport. He really needs Liberators or something that more directly deals with this Robo army. But GuMiho is slipping with his macro overall. Showtime, on the other hand, is spending pretty much everything he can. Building more medevacs. GuMiho, you need anything but medevacs really at this stage. He doesn't need more medevacs. He needs Liberators or Vikings. Ideally, 6 to 8 Liberators to deal with this army would be ideal. Can't say ideal at the end of each sentence. But medevacs are not in short supply. Neither is GuMiho overall, but he just doesn't have the army to deal with the mass disruptor at the moment. Unless Showtime is willing to make a generous donation and send a dozen Ruptors into the bio army because he misclicked his hotkey like in game 1, well, it's gonna be a tough time. Snipes coming out, and just in general, the Ghost very good against the Zealot DT. Widowmine drop kills 15 probes here. We're able to clean it up. Showtime down to 53 workers. Neither side having an easy go of it. GuMiho with a semi-base trade. Ooh, the Colossus count is so damn high. Recall off cooldown. May become very relevant here. Oh, Disruptors trying to deal with some of these SCVs. This base is taking way too long to die. Is GuMiho gonna kill 2 Nexa in the time he's been continually flirting with the... Oh, come on! Oh, no! The planetary fortress is... Showtime is losing so much! He still hasn't killed it! Oh, my. Oh, it's a disaster for Dimawa. GuMiho even doing some fit. The planetary's holding. And that's all that matters. The production tab sees nothing. GuMiho has no minerals. But he can't even repair the planetary. It will finally fall, but not because of Showtime's commitment, but because GuMiho straight up ran out of minerals. Oh no! Showtime now with minimal units. Where's that recall? He's stumbling near the finish line. Warping in a DT gets canceled. Showtime doesn't want to recall back. Now he has almost no mining. There's a Widow mine over here. Oh, it's disastrous. He's gonna try to punch his way through with the Ruptors, but there's still so much army supply on the opposite side of the map. Oh, Showtime has bungled this one. He really needed to just kill that planetary and either recall back or... The amount of time he spent not killing the planetary is devastating. Another army. There's still a Widow mine here. GuMiho may have struggled to keep his army on the field, but Showtime broke on the planetary. And GuMiho takes it. Whoa, that was a messy series. From every perspective. Between GuMiho nuking himself and Showtime breaking against that planetary. The middle game, the sandwich game will decide it, I think. GuMiho's solid tank push made all the difference. Well, that was certainly something. Thank you for watching. I hope I made your day a little bit better. It shows the range, the dynamic range of games we can have even at the top level of StarCraft 2. I hope you enjoy. Like, subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck, have fun. Stay... What's that? Stay chill. What a mess.